Alrighty, people, what is happening? Appreciate y'all for being here with us. And apologies for the lateness. I can tell you exactly why we are late. I was recording content this morning. It's morning time for us. And this guy comes into our place and says he's going to check the fire alarm. He's from the real estate agency. And then I am about 25 minutes through a recording of the first video I had to record today. And out of nowhere, all of my power in our house shuts down. No warning, no heads up. The only thing that this guy says is he's going to check the fire alarm. So again, I'm almost done with this video. And literally our entire power to our house was shut off. And if you don't realize, my PC is on. It's recording my audio. My camera is on and it's being powered by my PC. So the camera was turned off. All the footage was corrupted. The audio was turned off. All the footage was corrupt. All the audio was corrupted. And then I had to go down and be like, dude, what the heck? I'm working here. So that's why everything got pushed back so far, because my morning was ruined and I apologize. But hopefully we can still have a great stream with you guys. We are going to be focused on building some great Dynasty football teams. I appreciate y'all for being here with us. What's up, Stone Cold? I see you, Scribble, Zeno, Alec, Uncle Fresh is here. What's up, Russ? Welcome in. Again, appreciate y'all for being here with us. What's up, Dylan, in the building? Today's stream is going to be completely dedicated towards helping people build better Dynasty teams. And if you guys see me leaning forward, I want you to comment in the chat, say, lean back, Zach, because my neck is killing me right now. I'm going to the physio tomorrow, but it's just, I'm getting in this habit of like leaning forward into the screen, but I need to get better at that. Anyway, appreciate y'all for being here with us. Today's stream, again, like I mentioned, going to be completely dedicated towards team playbooks. And we've already got a nice little queue of people who we're going to look at today. Shall we start off with some trade questions that have come through the site?
Yeah, let's do it. Some trade questions here.
All right.
Of course, if you want to ask a message or ask a super message, I'll put that link in the chat there for you. Just to be transparent, we appreciate everyone that donates on YouTube, but if you link your team to the Flock Fantasy account, Flock Fantasy website, we can just give you a significantly better advice there. But the first one here is Max Molly. He says, curious if I down tier here have Burrow, Penix, Herbert, A-Chan, or A-Rich, 101, 109, 202. So you're giving away Joe Burrow and receiving Martin Harrison, and you get a 26 early mid first and the 206.
Yeah, I don't know about you.
This is a 2 quarterback. I mean,
I don't feel like that's worth it for Joe Burrow. I love Marvin, but I think that trade is worth it if Marvin definitely breaks out, which we expect. But
I feel like you should get a higher name for that. You know, I feel like can you? I mean, get rid
of that second and add another first. That would be my counter.
I feel like that name should be like Brian Thomas. That's the name I feel like it should be.
Right. Well, Brian Thomas in a first alone makes sense for sure, but
exactly.
If you want to do Marv, I think you need 2 firsts. Should be your counter. Get rid of the second, make it 2 firsts and Marv. That seems much more fair. But I mean, keep in mind you're putting yourself at risk if you do this. There's no guarantee A-Rich is going to be reliable from here on out. I think
he has plenty of quarterbacks though. Like he has Justin Herbert, Michael Penix, Anthony Richardson with Joe Burrow.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If you lose Joe Burrow, no guarantee A-Rich is going to be anything for you in the future. Sure. And we haven't seen a full season from Penix yet. So you really just have Justin Herbert that you can rely on. You have 2 guys that have upside that could definitely develop into that. But you're taking on a ton of risk, I think, in a deal like that. So I definitely like the idea, but I think it needs to be 2 firsts, not 1 and a second. So that would be my counter, but I think Joe Burrow's the winner there. Another trade question here from Bose. Says, appreciate all you guys do. It looks like they would send away Hampton to get back Judkins, Benson, and Jaden Reed. I'm all for the idea of, tearing down from a Hampton to go to a Judkins and a Trey or a Henderson. But I just don't think that this return is worth it. I love Trey Benson, but basically you're asking the question, would you tear down in a rookie draft from the 102 to go to the 107, and I will give you the 206 and the 209, basically. For me, that's not enough to make a move like that. That's not a significant enough player name. I think Trey Benson can break out, but given his current market, I just don't think there's enough there for me to do it. So, like, I would do it for, like, an Olave, right? Like, get rid of Jaden Reed. Give me Olave and Benson. That seems more realistic to me. But right now, I just don't feel like you're really getting that much upside. I mean, can you do it for, instead of Jaden Reed and Trey Benson, can you get Roma Dunze in this deal? Where was Roma Dunze? I swear I saw Dunze. Yeah, there he is.
No, he is there.
And then, you know, can you throw a Tootin or an ETN on top, right?
Yeah.
So I think those are the type of moves I would rather make than that one. So
yeah, I'm there with you.
All right, the first live playbook for today, I believe, is mlZ.
Yeah, and by the way, PS14, your playbook is going to be done today. Scam Ward, your playbook is going to be done today. And also Berkey J23 is going to be done today. Giving Perfect, Jacob. I think Jacob said that he was okay with an offline, potentially. But
Jacob
those
BC
three guys
sent a message, says, I'm going to add a super message to upgrade live.
Okay, never mind.
What would the turnaround be? I don't see it. Wait, yeah, there's a super message from Jacob. Yeah. So we actually can do Jacob's first today.
Jacob's first. Yeah.
Then mlZ, then 10 gram. These are all guaranteed. We're all going to get to all yours.
Yeah, all these are going to be guaranteed.
And then
today.
prime time is currently offline. So
437 is going to be his. Change that. Give me a sec.
Yeah, no, you're okay.
So keep that in mind, guys. If you guys are watching this later, once again, PS14 Scam Ward.
Oh, we have one more trade
Berkey,
question that just got submitted. Sorry.
No worries, Berkey J23. Your offline playbooks will most likely be done today and then sent out within the next 24 to 48 hours. So keep that in mind. But you can go ahead as I'll make this playbook for him.
Big B says, if Marv goes nuclear, these lowball takes won't age well. If Marv does not go nuclear, then you're taking all the risk in this deal. I don't know. I don't know how people just heard what we said and came to the conclusion that we are low on Marvin Harrison. It's about playing the market. It's not about a player evaluation. One more trade here from Calster. Says, trying to tier up. Giving up Lad hurts, but is it worth it? So they're giving up Lad and a Dunze for CD Lamb. This is an interesting one. I don't think I love CD Lamb, but just Ladd McConkey's rookie season was so impressive. I'm not really sure I see like a huge need to do that.
Let me just see. Is it Clayster's one?
Yeah.
Or Clayster's? Ladd and Rome, and he received CD. 2 quarterbacks start 9. Yeah. Trying to tier up, giving up Ladd hurts, but worth. Look, I'm kind of indifferent. I think.
Yeah, I think you've got a strong enough wide receiver room where you don't really need to make a move like that anyway. But
yeah, and I think the same could be said with Roma Dunze. The same book could be said. The same exact thing could be said with Roma Dunze. What we said with Martin Harrison or Roma Dunze. Is he going to break out? I think Ladd is the breakout. I think you're betting on the breakout for Rome, which once again we both believe Marvin and Rome have the opportunity to break out. So like, I think this is an easy trade in my eyes if Rome does break out, but a huge loss if he doesn't.
Yeah. The thing is, here's my difficulty with the trade question like this is, I think there's a non-zero chance that Ladd could score a similar amount of points in CD this year. I think the vast majority of us, including myself, and the heavy betting favorite is that CD will outscore Ladd, and it should be like slightly significant. But I think there's a non-zero chance that Ladd and CD could score a similar amount of points per game this year. So that's a tough one. Like, if you were sending, like, instead of Ladd, if that name is like Devonta Smith, a Dunze in a second or something, you know, it feels easier to make a move like that. But just because I think there is a chance that, and honestly, looking at your team, you're better off using your assets to get a running back than looking at some wide receiver improvement. So I think I'm going to pass just with all of the information we have now. But again, I think you can make a valid argument for both sides.
Yeah, I would say like, no, he doesn't have anyone even small that you can add. I mean, like, can you somehow get Shakira and then throw like a third or something onto that? Like, that's probably the only way I'd be okay with it, because Shakira brings, in my opinion, gives you that safe floor. And then once again, if Rome Odunze breaks out, that sucks for you because you could have Lad and Rome. But at least you got a little extra oomph with like an extra 10, 12 fantasy points that Shakira is going to be averaging in season. In my perspective, could even be higher. But at least you have that depth still. If one of those guys doesn't really gets injured or something. But appreciate you. I'm okay with that as well.
All right. Someone is sending away DJ Moore to get the 109 in Kamara. To be honest, I think in most leagues, the 109 is the max you could get for him anyway. So to get the 109 and Kamara, you're basically going from DJ to like Egbuka and Kamara. This seems like a no-brainer to me to take the 109 and Kamara's side. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty confident in that
okay
one
with that
too.
As well.
Another CD trade here from Dan Nerd. And again, like I said, the vast majority betting favorite, and including my opinion, is that CD is going to have another incredible, top 5 season. That's the expectation. But in this one, they can move off of CD for Marvin and 2 first. I think this is a deal where I'm happy to take the Marvin and 2 first sides. Again, my expectation is that CD is going to be, a top scorer again this year. But with the expectation we all have of Marvin breaking out, the insulated value there of 2 first-round picks, I would be comfortable to take the Marvin side of this deal myself.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think once again, like we said earlier,
you also look like a slightly rebuilding team as well. So
yeah, this feels a little bit better having 2 first instead of that second. If Marvin doesn't break out, at least you have the 2 first there to kind of help you continue to rebuild there. Like Zach said, it looks like you are a rebuilding team, so I'm okay with that.
He said he had a quick comment. Colton did. Let me look at your comment here in a second. But yeah, we're happy with that Marvin trade. What was the comment there? Let's see. What was that comment there from Colton? Let me pull that up. He says, he says, made the Derrick Henry move for the 106 last night, and this deal gets younger at running back. Good move. Yeah. Colton, we are, I'll be honest, like I haven't been that confident on a trade question that's submitted in a while. I'm very confident that that's the right move for you, my friend. So I really appreciate you submitting and letting us have a look at that together, because that makes me feel very confident to say, yes, let's go out and make that move. So appreciate you, man. Okay, so those are all the trade questions for now. Of course, you guys can submit trade questions at any point. Now, Jacob did upgrade to the live, so let's go to Jacob's first. But it is a great day to submit your team playbook. Would love to have a look at your guys' squad. You can see the link in the pinned comment, but you can get your team playbook, which is a customized game plan for your offseason. Customized trade targets. It's all customized to your team. You can get that by using the promo code LAND, becoming an annual Mother Flocker member. That will give you a voucher that you can use through the Flock store, get a team review from us. Now, ultra important, you got to move that slider up when you submit to the live team playbook if you want it shown on stream. Otherwise, it will be done offline. No problem if that's what you prefer. Plenty of people prefer that. They don't want their league to see it, or they don't care so much about it being shown on a live stream. But either way, it will be customized advice from us. Let's start with Jacob here. And again, that link is in the chat if you guys want to submit one today. But let's go to Jacob's team here to start the day, shall we?
Yeah. Really quick, I just want to address, I know Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Asked if he was on the queue. Cold Steven. I'm pretty sure you are on the queue. I think we're doing Jacobs, mlZmaTron,
mlZ, and then Tentagram, which I think is him.
A Tentagram, exactly. So keep that in mind. All right, but Jacob, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support. Please jump in at any point in time.
Just quickly, we have a super message here from Mark. Sorry. Need better depth. Start 12. 2 offers on the table. Trade Jefferson for Rice and Nico, or trade T and Jonnu for Pickens and Chase Brown.
Beat out the running back. Star 12 to over.
Rasheed Rice and Nico Collins is not a bad offer. I just wonder
No,
if you could get like another piece in the start 12s. Could you get like a Chris Godwin, a Mike Evans, a Devontae Adams in that? Can you get a James Conner or something? So I think you could potentially add one more piece to that, but in a start 12, it's not a bad offer at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Rice and Nico is probably my favorite one there. So if I had to choose one, I'll probably go there. I'm not a big believer in picking, so I wouldn't do that trade personally. So yeah, I'm there with you with that Rice and Nico. But appreciate you, Mark G. And once again, Jacob, if you are here, let us know. If not, you should be receiving a time code with this review here. 2 quarterback, 10 team start 10. That is our classic middle ground, as you guys already know. We'll put that in the chat for you guys to see. And at the context, he says, have been going back and forth on trading for my own first back. Traded it earlier this offseason, and it still was offered for Marlon Harrison. Definitely rebuilding, just looking for what next steps will be. Thank you. Okay. So fire sell V point.
I hope that doesn't mean he's a rebuilder without his own first pick on first round.
He is. I mean, that's exactly what he said. So he is ranked 4th out of 10. Let's have a look at this.
Why do you guys do this to me? Why do you do this to me? Why do you put me in this position where I make you do this? All right, go ahead. I'm not gonna say
Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, Anthony Richardson. Their decent quarterback room at the top. Running back position, really no one to speak of. Brian Robinson, Jordan Mason, Jaden Blue. Looks like he did a rookie draft already, and that's it. At the wide receiver position, you can start up to 5. You're starting 5. Marvin, Rice, Mbuka, and really no one else to speak of there. And Tucker Kraft and Elijah Arroyo. But you have 1, 2, 3 first-round picks in 2026. You have 1, 2, 3 first-round picks in 2027. And a bunch of seconds and thirds here. So, yeah, look,
which is fine, but you don't.
The real question is
this is like so confusing to me because I just don't understand when people do this. I don't understand when they pile up a bunch of first round picks and then they don't get their own. Because, he named his team Fire Sale 2.0. And again, when you guys get a team playbook from us, you're just going to get full transparency and honesty. I'm not going to not say what I think. But it seems like you've gone on a fire sale, you've sold a whole bunch of players, and you failed to do the most important step first, which was to acquire your own first-round pick. Because now everyone in your league knows that you're trying to rebuild. And the one guy who has your first-round pick, while you've been making all these moves, that pick has just gained ultimate value. I mean, there's no way they want to sell that pick anymore. You know what I mean? This is like the number one no-no for me on a rebuilding team is to put yourself in this sort of position. You should have gotten your first before you made all these moves, honestly, because now you're just going to be held hostage. Why would the guy who has your first-round pick trade it? So who owns his first-round pick? Let's have a look at that first.
Stack Jack.
Okay, Stack Jack owns your first. And this is what's going to suck for you is this guy's a rebuilder too. For the most part. I guess he has Adams. He has McBride. I could be wrong. Actually, Connor.
I think it
maybe
just
he
does
need a quarterback.
I think it depends on I get what Zach is saying, but I think it just depends on if they're sharp or not. He's probably not really seeing your first as, let me look at your team. Some people don't even do that if you're a novice type of dynasty player. But if you are in a high IQ type of league, I get what Zach is saying. But maybe this guy is not like that. So you have to hope that that's the case here.
Yeah. I just really I get the want to rebuild, but the first step you have to take is getting your own first back. Because when you're starting to rebuild without your own pick, you're just actively making that pick that you don't own more and more valuable. You're actively hurting yourself as you do that, in my opinion. But we can still find a way around that. So overall team grade right now, I'll put it at a C+, B minus. The draft capital is great. You just don't have your own. But you have all those picks in 26. You have 3 firsts in 27. Your draft capital is definitely an A+. Let's say B minus for this team. B minus. It's still a decent team. There's a lot of great bones. I'd like to say your own first is untouchable, but you don't have it.
Well, let's see the first that he does have. Like, does he have? He does have Shador Truthers, which is ranked 10th currently. Let's have a look at this team.
Yeah.
Lamar Campbell. I mean, this
It's
guy's kind of it's kind of competitive there. He also has Rise of the Juggernaut.
I think if you look at every single team in this league, his is by far the best betting favorite for the 101.
Not ideal.
By far, I think he has the betting favorite to be the 101 next year.
Yeah, so it looks like you probably at earliest first you probably have like the 106, 105 with the first rounders that you've acquired. At least from looking at the other teams, right? Like the other teams first, from what I'm seeing here. So, all right, let's go into some admin here. Untouchables is going to be Jalen Hurts. We might potentially
have to move him.
But you'll see that on the document. Hold. Let's put Rashee Rice as a hold. You can put names like, we've been putting names like Roman Wilson to see how he is going to do, but we can potentially sell him in season. Elijah Arroyo is somebody we've been holding as well. And then we can also put a name like Emeka Mbuka, since you are rebuilding as well. When it comes on to drops, I think there's a bunch of drops here just to make room. Let me just double check your waiver wires to see if there's anyone worth picking up here. Really no one. I mean, you could argue Miles Sanders, you could argue Luke Musgrave, but I'll still prioritize the drops over some of these waiver wires. So like Will Shipley, you can drop. Jerome Ford, Adam Thielen, Trey Tucker, Nick Nash, Kate Stover, you can drop. Bunch of names that you can drop for this team, for sure.
Yeah. And I just want to clarify, I really like your team. I just have like a fundamental flaw or issue with the idea of like trading your own first and then rebuilding. I think the first step is to get your own first round pick back before you do that. But you still have a really good amount of draft capital. You should still be able to build out a really nice team here. And I want to be more positive. I apologize. I just, think realism is also important in these team reviews as well. When I look at your draft, I think you had a decent draft this year. Tough to go into a rebuild and only really land like Egbuka, that for sure is going to be a part of the future of that. Maybe Arroyo as well can play a part.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But
it's interesting if you weren't competitive last year, and
maybe he was competitive, but he decided to flip it. Phil
probably.
Maffa and Deontay Thornton are on the waivers. They're definitely interesting to me. So I think we're in a full rebuild, no?
Yeah, I think we're in a full rebuild here and selling some of these pieces in season. So, like, for example, trading down from Jalen Hurts, selling Brian Robinson.
We really need to go get our first with Jalen Hurts, I think.
Yeah, that's probably the only way you can. So, like, I thought about it as well. People said in the chat, Michael Penix in that first, Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I think that is going to be the structure of what we pursue. So Penix plus your 26 first. And hopefully this guy isn't wise, because I'll be honest with you. If I was in your league, you're not getting your first off me. I would just hold that bad boy. And what about like Luther Burden on top? Penix the first, Burden, something like that.
Yeah,
I don't think you can get much more than that. I think maybe you can stretch it to ask for like a Trey Benson on top, and then you send something else. But I think I don't want to undersell Hurts, but I want to be realistic with the lack of leverage you have whatsoever. So you send like a Najee Harris or something.
Yeah, you can add Najee. You can send Brian Robinson or something just to get it done, because I'm okay with either of those things.
Yeah, that really is your best bet. You kind of need the quarterback back, and you can't really take on the risk of a Justin Fields. I guess if they wanted to do a Hurts, you could try and get Hurts and Puka. Do that kind of format, and then just don't have a quarterback that you love if you want to go full rebuild. So you get Puka Nacua plus your first. But we're going to have to obviously add on to this, right? you can't. That's unrealistic to expect that big of a return. So you'd have to probably send back. I mean, you're not in a great position here to like Brian Robinson and a second or something. Maybe you can do that for Brian Robinson a third. I don't know. Depends on how desperately he would want Jalen Hurts and how he views your 26 first, if he's thinking about that or not. You could also go an alternative route and try and just send like Trevor Lawrence straight up.
Yeah, we can.
Maybe we could try for Trevor and Trey Benson or something.
Trevor Lawrence, Trey Benson for the first. Yeah, I just wonder what that trade was, Jacob. That you got Martin Harrison for.
Well, he said he got a good deal, so.
He says, I think on the back end, he says, just to know, I've been working on a deal for my first back for a little over a week with not much progress. Price is currently sitting at a mid-27 first, mid-27 second. Brian Robinson plus more based on our discussion, which I don't feel great about. So it sounds like he's sending his first and second and Brian Robinson for his first back.
Yeah. So the guy who has his pick is
pretty
smart.
It's pretty sharp. Yeah.
And knows this pick is now more valuable than it's ever been.
Well, if that's the case, then Jalen Hurts is probably your only answer. If you can't
really
send a future first in 27, then you probably can't do anything else.
Yeah, you got to send Jalen Hurts to make this happen. And then the only other thing that I can think of is, if he would be open to like you get the first in Burden, you send Lawrence and Brian Robinson or Najee Harris. But the difficult part, again, and I just want to be realistic with you. I'm not being harsh. I'm just being realistic. Is you have no leverage. You've lost all leverage in any sort of back and forth when you went full rebuild. So you definitely can't like send Jalen Hurts for that first straight up. That doesn't make sense, right? You need to find some benefit, and maybe the reasonable outcome is just getting Penix in your first. Like some of these deals, I think you might have to even be realistic, but you don't want to undersell Jalen Hurts either. But in season, whether you use Brian Robinson in this trade or not, I would be looking to sell him.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of names you could probably worth selling. Maybe not a bunch, but Brian Robinson, at least the names that come to mind: Brian Robinson, Jordan Mason, Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren. I guess you could sell Roman Wilson high, but
I mean, if you're able to sell him, he's probably broken out, and you might as well hold him.
Exactly, might as well hold him.
I think it's those three running backs for me: Brian, Najee, and Jaylen Warren.
I'm there with you.
So, for Brian Robinson, really we're looking for like a mid-second in the future. For Najee Harris, we'll take any second in any year as a rebuilder, and for Jaylen Warren, we'll take any late second or multiple thirds, ideally. Or you like turn him into like this year's version of like Jalen Wright, Blake Corum, who like does toot and start off slow, and he's really affordable. Can you do that? So I think that's the way you probably negotiate that name.
Yeah. Look, Jacob, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty self-explanatory. Try and get your first back. Obviously, I think you've already done the work or been trying to put in the work to get your first back. I would say do anything you possibly can to get that back, especially if you're going full rebuild.
Hurts, though. But,
yeah, exactly. Don't undersell Hurts, but definitely try and get it back. You have his 27 first, so maybe you can do a pick swap there. Maybe I'm assuming that's probably what.
Yeah, maybe that's the last one. Is you can ask probably to trade swap picks for 26 and 27.
I would imagine that he's probably trying to use that as leverage, and say, hey, I have your 27, you have my 26. Let's just give each other back our first type vibe.
The issue is Stack Jack's going to be contending.
He's smart. Yeah, exactly. But we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the support. You should be receiving your customized playbook with everything that we drew up here for you today in the Flock Fantasy Message System within 24 to 48 hours, man. But Good luck trying to get that first back.
I got a trade question here from X Ray, which might be Jordan Ray here. What's up, man? He says,
How you doing, man?
my defense league. I
What's
wonder if
in
that means
defense?
there's IDP, but let us know. It looks like they would be sending away a first, Darnold and Keon for Josh Allen. And I must be missing something here because this is the cheapest Josh Allen I've seen in a long time. Let me know if I'm missing something, Jordan, in that
This is
trade.
an offensive defense start 11 on both sides. He's also getting the 509, 601, 602, 603 in this.
Yeah, and that still seems like a huge steal for Josh Allen.
Is this a startup?
No,
No, it's not a startup. No, it's not a startup question because he has teams linked. So I was tripping there.
So if I'm reading it correctly, you're giving up a 26 first, Darnold and Keon for Josh Allen, and that's. I know it's a big start 11, and you got the start 11 on both sides. I honestly don't care. I feel like you can buy Josh Allen, and even if you don't want to build around him, you could sell him for a much bigger profit than this in season.
It's a second year. It's fleece. It's a fleecing, right? Yeah. So if you're receiving Josh Allen, that's exactly.
Yeah.
You want Josh Allen every single day, 3 times a day. Pause.
Although, has your mind changed at all on the whole Jalen Milroe thing? Did you hear what Coach said about Sam Darnold?
I have not.
Okay.
No, what do you say?
He, head coach Mike McDonald was asked if someone besides Sam Darnold will start at quarterback this year. He says, "No, you guys are crazy. I respect you've got to ask it, but it's just a crazy question. It's just not going to happen. Sam's our starting quarterback."
We'll see. We'll see in week 13 when they're, 2-10, and we're like, oh shit, is it still Sam, coach? I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen. I'm just saying if it goes that way, why wouldn't he put him in? That's always been my argument. But if he's successful, great.
I mean,
but
I'd be shocked if the Seahawks were 2-10. I think they're always a competitive.
exactly,
team,
I would
so.
be shocked, 100%.
Anyway, take Josh Allen here, even though I believe Sam Darnold's going to be the starter, and Badaki and I are on the same page necessarily about his value. I would go Josh Allen there. We both would, for sure, easily, right?
It's just, yeah, everyone's like, that sounds like collusion. That's actually low key kind of true though. But appreciate you, Jordan. I traded him. Jordan said it's the second year as the fleece. I kind of feel bad though. I traded him to him for more. Yeah. No, he's probably
take Josh Allen
like
and then let your league be upset, and then you make some popcorn. Okay, so the trade's about to go through. You're whipping up some popcorn, and then you just open the chat, and when the trade is completed, just don't say anything. They're all going to see you, that they can see all your messages, and you're just eating your popcorn, and you're just going to watch what everyone has to say. There's no collusion there. It's just stupidity, and you don't overturn for stupidity. All right, we're going to go to our next team playbook here from mlZmaTron. We ready for this one?
mlZmaTron, yeah. Let us know if you're here with us. As always, you should already know you should be receiving a time code with your team review. If you are not here with us, your team name is Crown Society, and you're currently in a 2 quarterback 10 team start 10, which is another middle ground here. Another middle ground league. He says, really enjoy your guys' content. Won this league last season. Just seeing what moves you guys would consider me doing. I traded my 26 second and my 3rd for Kamara, and this is a 10-man league, like I said. So you're currently ranked 3rd. Too. Yeah, full point premium as well. Currently ranked 3rd here. So let's have a look at this team, shall we? Okay. At the quarterback position, Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield. That's a good quarterback room. You don't really have to worry about that. At the running back position, Derrick Henry, Alvin Benson, Brian Thomas, Isaac Guerrero, and the list goes on. I think that's a good win now competitive running back room for sure. You can start up to 5 wide receivers, and your starting 5 is J.J. Wilson, Garrett Wilson, Jordan Addison, Luther Burden, Jack Bech, Devontae Adams. So you're a little bit short at the wide receiver room. Let me just read that again. Justin Jefferson, Wilson, Addison, and then Devontae Adams are probably your starting wide receivers there. And you're still short 1 with Trey McBride and then TJ Hawkinson. So that's not bad in a full point premium. I'm assuming that's what you're going to be doing, putting one of those tight ends in that flex position for you to then start and help your team out there. Let's just jump into some admin here. Untouchables, I'll say Joe Burrow for sure. Um, Justin Jefferson, and I would also. I mean, we don't have, for the sake of the graphic, we don't have to put Trey McBride, but in a full point premium with that contract extension, I think he could definitely be an untouchable as well. Hold. Trey Benson is definitely a hold for us. Also, we can see Isaac Correndo is going to be a hold for us as well. We can also put Luther Burden there with Jack Besh.
So you think about your starting lineup right now, it's probably Burrow, Purdy, or Mayfield, but two of those three. Then Derek, Kamara, Jefferson, Wilson, McBride. You need to start 3 more names, which you could probably flex Hawkinson in this league. Then Addison, and then you need 1 more name between Devontae Adams, Brian Robinson, Burden, Besh, Knoll. It's a pretty good lineup, honestly. I'm a big fan of this lineup. You have your first next year. I almost feel like I would be pretty open to 2 moves. Number 1, what could we get for Hawkinson in a tight end premium?
Sure.
Maybe he's worth holding with that full point premium, honestly. Like maybe we just
I think that's kind of what he's doing though. But yes, continue.
And then the other one is let's get another running back with that first round pick. Because I think if you add 1 more running back there, you've really got enough to go out and contend this year. Like B-Rob's going to be a fine desperation play, but if you added like a Taylor or Brees to this, I think I would be pretty confident in what we have to go out and contend. Don't you think?
Yeah, I can definitely see that happening for sure. Yeah, I'm okay with that to make those moves.
All right, so if we look at your team, did we give a team grade?
No, we have not.
I'd say like a B+.
Yeah, I would say B+ as well. Draft capital, you have.
Let's say B- maybe.
Yeah, because you don't have your seconds. You're definitely a contender, and you don't have any drops. I think there's everyone there that we're happy to hold and just wait and see what happens. Yeah. And there's no one to pick up off waiver wires. Only name I can see is probably Taj Brooks, big old Roscoe. I'm happy to pick up, but I don't know who to drop. I think I would drop Jimmy Horn for Taj Brooks.
Yes. No, yeah.
That's probably...
I had that written down as well as Taj Brooks, Rashawn Johnson, and Keenan Allen were the names that stood out because I think Keenan's still going to go somewhere, but would be willing to drop Jimmy. Yeah. I mean, your league is pretty thin, so maybe Taj is the one that you drop Jimmy for.
Yeah, that's probably it.
And but outside of that, you might want to hold. But those are just names that you can monitor in case like someone goes on the IR or something. Anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Looking at your draft, I gave it a C+. You clearly didn't have a first round pick. These are all names that could make an impact, but there's certainly no guarantees. You have 3 my guys, which I love. Burden, Besh, Knoll. If you didn't have them, it might be more D range, but those guys are truly my guys, but none are first round picks and startups are in rookie drafts right now. But honestly, looking at the team, I don't think we need to do much outside of maybe just explore that 26 first and see what sort of names, like a Breece Hall, if we can manage, a Jonathan Taylor, if we can manage.
Trying to think of Jonathan Taylor. I like Chase Brown.
Yeah, he's probably more realistic.
I don't know if you can do. You probably can't do HN, but those are probably the names. I feel like if you go a little bit higher.
Yeah, I'd be interested in like an HN or a Bucky if you can pay. If you can make it work somehow. Like, I wonder if the HN or Bucky guys own a quarterback that we could tear down to. So no, not for HN. Bucky, Goff. I mean, would you be comfortable doing like a? You could actually do a huge deal with this guy. He has Bucky and Breece and Chase. I wonder if we can do some sort of. He has. I have Brock Purdy ahead of Goff. I don't know if this guy does, but it's worth exploring if you can do some sort of like, okay, I'm gonna send you Brock Purdy. I'm going to send you my 26 first. Can I somehow net like a Bucky Irving and Jared Goff, for example? I'd be open to that. Can you do that for Breece Hall? Prefer Bucky Irving. Can you potentially... Well, I don't want to do Tyler Shuck. I'd almost be curious if you could... Yeah, sorry, I'm just talking things through and then I'm realizing that's not possible.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
I think just keeping it simple, like what you were kind of mentioning.
Yeah, I think those are some good ideas there. I feel like it's funny. This guy has like all of the same players here. He has Brown, Taylor, or he has Brown, Bucky, and Hall on that one team.
Yeah, he does actually.
But it seems like he would be willing to move some of those names. He has Bowers and Laporta, but yeah, I think those are some deals that are worth exploring. Honestly, outside of that, I think the team is already pretty good. I don't think you really need to panic. It's you're going to contend, so there's no reason to sell a Kamara or a Henry. Same with Adams. I just see this as like let's kind of make one small move and then rock into the season.
Yeah, and that's really all you have to do here. And honestly, if you don't want to do that, I think you still have the depth. I think we both, at least for me, I believe Trey Benson can get a good workload in the second half of the season. Brian Robinson, I still believe he's going to be the other guy, or the guy there personally. Hey, Austin Eckler's on that on the waiver wires as well. So if you just want to lock up that backfield, I'm pretty sure the rookie,
tough part is you'd have to drop Kyle or DJ to do it.
Yeah, you would have to drop somebody significant, which is probably not ideal. But maybe one of these guys on your taxi, or maybe you don't have these guys on your taxi as of yet. But anyways,
yeah,
we appreciate you. Thank you for the support. You should be receiving your playbook and the Flock Fantasy message customized with everything that we drew up for you here today within 24 to 48 hours, man. But thank you so much. This is a great team. Really good team.
Yeah, definitely appreciate you, man.
All right.
All right, we're going to get to our next trade, and is Stone Cold in the building, because I believe this is his team. I appreciate your patience, my friend. And if you guys are out there and you want your team playbook, we are obviously reviewing your team live or offline, but everyone gets the playbook, customized game plan for your offseason. You can get that by becoming a promo code LAND annual Mother Flocker member. You'll get a voucher that you can use through the Flock store. Just choose Team Review, choose Zach and Badaki from Fantasyland, and make sure you slide that slider up to the live tier if you want it shown on the stream. And by the way, you can still get a team playbook from us if you're not a member. You just have to purchase one a la carte, so you just won't have that voucher. All right, Stone Cold's in the building.
Awesome. By the way, we did get a couple other ones to see you, Bird Gang. And then I also see.
I've also got a question here from Sam, which we can get to straight away, pretty much.
Yeah, Sam, appreciate you, man. Let's have a look at this.
And then Darth, let me just double check. I think Darth might be live. I think he's a member.
Yeah, I think Darth just submitted.
So Darth is live as well. Okay, cool.
Yeah. He says has some interest in Swift. I'm open to moving him. Don't know what to think of this offer. So you're sending away Swift in a 26th third, and you're getting Darnell Money Mooney in a 20 early in a second. So you're doing a pick swap and getting Mooney. I would take Mooney there. What does your team look like? And in the second, personally, I'm not sure how you feel.
Yeah, I mean, you have a shit ton of like average running backs after Judkins with like Swift, Pollard, Mason, Stevenson, right? And your wide receiver room is incredible. Look, I can see a revitalization for DeAndre Swift in Chicago. I can really see it. But I can also recognize that he was one of the worst starters in the NFL last year, point blank period. So if he doesn't revitalize himself, he will be worth nothing. That is what you're at risk of. And I think you can make an argument that Swift and Darnell Mooney are close in value anyway. So to get the second and third round pick swap, I think there's enough value there that won't change with that second round pick. And you know, Mooney is he's kind of Tyler Lockett-ish at this point of his career, where he's maybe a little bit undervalued. So I think I'm fine with that return. I really like it. Do you think there's a pathway to Swift ever being worth a first again? I don't know if I see that happen.
The only way that happens is if he comes out and he is like rookie year DeAndre Swift. You know, like he has to come out and be that, and he is, and he stays healthy. That's another thing.
It's
he
hard
has to
to even
score
imagine
touchdowns
him
in the air and on the ground and stay healthy.
Yeah, obviously he's a great receiving threat, but when you think about all the weapons they have in Chicago, it's really difficult to rationalize why they would heavily target him with all the weapons they have. I think I'm fine. I could be wrong, but I struggle to see you really getting much more value in this deal. Is Sam with us, by the way? Because that didn't go through the first time. I just want to make sure he's with us. But yeah. Look, overall, Sam, if you're just watching this now, scroll back about 3 or 4 minutes because we've talked through this trade in depth. But yeah, overall, I would say I don't think you're going to maximize Swift for much more than that. So I'm happy with that return there.
I completely agree.
Cool. Awesome,
there.
Sam. I'm glad that was helpful then. What's up, Commander Burger in the building? From Ireland, right? Hell yeah. Let's go. Okay.
Hell yeah. All right. Stone Cold Steve. Hey, thank you so much. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for supporting and getting a team review. And please jump in at any point in time with any context that you do have since you are here with us. Looks like this is a 2 quarterback 10 team start 9. Okay, so that's our classic meat and potatoes here. And I'll put that in the chat. That's kind of what his lineup should be looking like here. You currently rank 2nd out of 10 according to Zach's rankings. It says just traded away Mixon plus a 26 first plus a 27 second for Brees and a 26 third. Was that an overpay? Sending Mixon in a first?
Yeah, I would say yes.
I would say yes as well.
I think Brees is about worth a first.
Just the first alone, and you get Joe Mixon.
You gave up the 2nd and 3rd round pick swap. In a better year, by the way, in 27, and you gave up Mixon on top. That feels like an overpay to me, but
yeah, he says finished 3rd last season and needed an RB2. Let me know what I can do to improve this team for.
I think you already had one with Joe Mixon, though, a temporary one at least. But
yeah,
that's okay. Team Drenched is the name.
Yeah, let's have a look at this here. At the quarterback position, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, great quarterback room, like having 3 quarterbacks there. Running back, Bijan, Brees, Trey Benson, Najee. So you would have originally had Joe Mixon.
I look at your team and I really wish we could reverse that trade, honestly.
Yeah. You can start up to 4 wide receivers. You have Puka, Nico, Rome, Addison, Pickens there with Kyle Williams and David Njoku. You got Terrence Ferguson here. You don't have your first in 2026. So I think that automatically puts us in a windows open.
Yeah.
Meaning why not compete now, especially when not having your first here. Going to some untouchables, and then we can talk a little bit more about your team.
I'm just going to put a hoodie on while you do that.
No worries. Josh Allen is definitely a hold or untouchable. Bijan Robinson is us, as well as Puka Nacua in a league like this, and this is not a tight end premium. Holds, we would say names like Rome Odunze is a hold. We would say names like Trey Benson is a hold. It doesn't look like you have much drop, so let's add 2 more holds there on this team. Let's put Kyle Williams and then Kyle Monangai on that as well to really help you. Let's double check to see if there's anyone on waiver wires here. Actually, there is a couple people on waiver wires I think we would recommend picking up. So a name like Taj Brooks, Kendre Miller, who I know Zach likes, I don't really believe in, but like we're happy to put him up on the waiver wires. Path, Mike Gesicki I think is also a useful name. So let's put those guys there, actually add a waiver wire to your team rather than some drops. So Mike Gesicki or Kendre Miller and Mike Gesicki, even though you already have tight ends. we can put that on there as well for you. Okay.
Just giving that link there for Garrett. Absolutely, man. We can answer it in the next 30 minutes. Your trade question. So, yeah, look, in hindsight, man, it's so cold in here. I don't know what's going on. But
It's freezing.
In hindsight, I really wish we didn't make that trade. Because I would have rather gone a different direction if that's what Brees cost. Now you have to go all in. You could have just run this roster back and had your first round pick and had more flexibility. Obviously, everyone prefers Brees over Mixon, right? But I think the price you paid, it just really, puts you in a tough position. I don't really value the 26 class that much, but you only have a second round pick and you don't have your second in 27. The first round pick in 27 is really the only pick I care about on your draft capital right now. I'll give your draft capital probably a C plus, C minus, C flat maybe. Overall team grade though, it's a good team. It's a good team. Like, you should feel confident in this team overall. Probably a B plus as a team.
Yeah.
Like the combination of starting, it's only a start 9. So like starting a Allen, Murray, Bijan, Brees, Puka, Collins, that's 6, and Njoku's 7. You can only start 2 more names. Now, the issue is we don't know if Benson's going to break out or not. We think he could, so we can't rely on him, but we want a Dunze to break out. But you have Addison, you have Pickens, you can rely on those guys. So I think there's definitely enough there, but I might have preferred to just kept Mixon and see what else we could have done with that pick. But it's a good team, honestly.
I think it is a good team, and like just having a quick look at what this team would have looked like if you would have just gotten Brees for a 26 first. Like, I think we probably would have mentioned. I mean, you kind of just saw that in the last team review that we just did, right?
Yeah.
We said Brees for a 26 first. You would have had Bijan, Brees, and Mixon, and then we would have been like, okay, I think you're pretty good and pretty set. Yeah. But obviously, Steve is in the chat.
Or we would have, like, if that's what Brees costed, fair enough. But we might have tried to say, what does Taylor cost? What does Chase Brown cost? What does Josh Jacobs and James Cook and what do these guys cost? Are they cheaper? And then you can keep Mixon on the team. But I definitely get, and I agree with who said it. 50 cal. I agree. When you're in a start 9, it's definitely difficult. And 50 cal saying no one's giving up a Brees for a first. I've seen it consistently throughout this offseason. But I would agree in a 10-team start 9, you're probably not getting that deal done. But I don't think it's fair to say no one is doing it, because we see it every day in the live database we have with real trades across all sleeper leagues. We see that trade happen all the time. But I do think that is an overpay, but it doesn't matter to go back and look at it. Just know your team is still very good. And I think you should feel confident in your ability to compete this year. You just don't have as much flexibility. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that we have to say, right? So we've done all admin. You really didn't have any impact on your rookie draft, by the way. I like Kyle Williams a lot, and I like Terrence Ferguson a lot, but there's not a single name you can look at there and say, yeah, those guys are going to really help me compete this year, and I can almost guarantee that they're going to make an impact on my roster. There's a lot of players we liked, but there's still a lot of what-ifs. Who did you say on the waiver wire that you wanted him to pick up?
There's a couple of names. I said Kendre Miller. I like Mike Gesicki here. Those are the 2 names I initially said. You could do Taj Brooks.
Yep.
Just really depends on which names you like there.
Yeah.
But I put
Zach
Mike
Ertz,
in
even. Zach Ertz could be a
sneaky one, for sure.
Spot start the tight end position. So yeah, I would definitely be confident with this team and see what sort of waivers you could have. But man, look, coming up with trade ideas for this team is now going to be very difficult because you don't have your 26 first. I mean, what are we supposed to do now? I don't think, as a contender, I'm not going to suggest you to tear down from Josh Allen. I'm not going to suggest for you to tear down from Bijan Robinson, from Puka Nacua. Maybe we do that if you don't have the depth you already have. But I think that's probably not exactly the move that we would suggest. So I'm honestly not sure what moves to make here. I don't really want to sell like a Kyler right now, a Dak Prescott as a contender. You can't sell Najee for anything. Is there a move to make for this team? Like, honestly.
Honestly, probably not. I mean, look, a move can be made. Should a move be made? No. Like Zach said,
I just want to.
You can move Josh Allen. You can move Brees or Bijan. You can move Puka. Like that could be possible, but like we don't want to give up these players because you're in a smaller league in a start 10 or start 9, excuse me. Those guys are kind of crucial, you know.
Yeah. What's up, Case? I can't 100% promise you tonight, but there's a good chance of it. If not, you'll be like the first one on tomorrow's stream either way. So if you're looking to get a team playbook, obviously the earlier you get in, the better. We've just got a couple that we need to get through already. So I couldn't promise tonight, but I could promise you tomorrow easily. Let us know if that's okay. Steve says, I should have held my first. Appreciate all the constructive criticism. Look, if Breece Hall returns to 2023 form, then you would have got a steal on him, right? It's just we can't really project that right now this offseason. So, yeah, I would say ultimately...
Look, I think there are some moves you can make. I think small moves. You can sell Najee Harris for any second that you possibly can.
Yeah.
The J.K. Dobbins if a team signs him. I'm not a big George Pickens guy, but I think we would say, I think we've said this before, like what can you swap George Pickens out for a player? And let me just double check what
I would
was
prefer
in the
just to
value.
keep Pickens myself.
Yeah. I think for me, I would be okay to swap depending on that type of player that you can get. And looking at KTC, we like to use this as a tool, more of a weapon and exploit, right? George Pickens right now is currently wide receiver 32. Can you get a Matthew Golden? Can you get, for me, I'd rather have Jalen Waddle or Olave. If you can tier or pivot to one of those guys, I would. Ricky Pearsall, Brandon Ayuk, I would do that for those guys. But once again, you don't have to make those moves. But if you can pivot to one of those guys, I personally would be okay with that.
Yeah, I think just for me, I'll say my piece. I just prefer to keep Pickens as a contender without your first. I think he has more upside than a lot of those names. And like with the name like Golden, I can see why you would feel that way because he's a first round pick and it just happened. But I think I can trust Pickens more this year than I can Golden as a contender.
Sure, and that's totally fine. Totally fine.
Yeah, like the Dobbins, the Najees, the Tajay Spears, trying to get any third for Tajay at this point is fine. You know what you could do though is you could go ahead and go even more all in and say, okay, let me send Tajay and my second, and can I get another running back there for depth, right? So. Is there a team that would do that for? You're gonna have to go down the barrel here. A Kamara, a Monty, right? Like those type of names.
Yeah.
I think outside of that though, you've kind of with the move you made. Not saying it's the wrong move, but you kind of have put yourself in a box where this is the team that you should rock with. So yeah.
But please jump in at any point in time. Let us know if you have any last minute questions there, Steve. We appreciate you, man. I'm sorry it wasn't as in depth or more trade ideas or things that we normally do. Sometimes that's how team review goes, but we appreciate you. And as we're waiting for those last minute questions,
let us know if you have anything that we didn't answer. I want you to feel good about the review, honestly.
Yeah, I'll give you the spiel though. You should be receiving your playbook customized with everything that we drew up here for you today within 24 to 48 hours on the Flock Fantasy message system here. But once again, the floor is yours.
Yes.
As we wait for that. I think Bird Gang is next as we wait.
Yeah, Kay says it can't be on tomorrow. Look, I can ask, like, would Darth or Bird Gang, would you guys be on tomorrow by chance? Let us know, because then we can push theirs to tomorrow if they're available. But
we might potentially squeeze him in just because Bird Gang submitted screenshots, but
Okay.
he's in a sleeper league, so maybe
Okay.
we can send him a message and say, "What's your sleeper league?"
Okay.
But it just depends on if he's here with us. Like if he's here with us and he can send that, then maybe we prioritize
But
him.
even if you submit today case, we can always do it like on a
Another
on
day.
another day. So
Yeah, so Case, if you want to submit it today, hypothetically, and you're just in the queue already,
you can put
and
a
you're not
note
going to be
down
here
and
tomorrow,
say,
yeah, we'll put a note
yep.
down and be like, if you're going to be on, Thursday night, you're free Thursday night, you can be on. Just come, and then we'll wait. We'll keep it in the queue for you and not review it until you're live with us. If you wanted to do something like that. But anyways,
We got a trade question from G Money. What's up, man? Garrett says, It's been a long time. What's up, man?
Yeah.
We
How you doing,
appreciate you,
brother?
G Money. It has been a minute, but he says, got sent this. Should I take London or get a running back? Yeah, I want to make sure that I'm looking at the right trade, but I definitely would not pay Higgins and a first for London. I love London, but I think you can have London in like a micro tier above Higgins. But in my rankings, they would be very close. Wide receiver 9 to 14 is actually in the same tier for me. So I wouldn't be willing to pay a first to make that move from Higgins to London. Especially after Higgins gets signed long-term in an offense that is so dedicated to...
says it's gonna be late, by the way.
Yeah, but
he clarified
even
it.
if it was late, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure. Should I take London or get running back? Yeah, I think we had this conversation. It's probably not. I think it is far too much. I don't think we had the conversation about Drake London, but we had it with Marvin and T. I mean, do we put London in that same category?
With what? I don't understand.
Remember that conversation that we had with T. Higgins and then Martin Harrison? Who would you draft? Younger. They haven't broken out. T. Higgins, if he can stay healthy.
Oh, London was great last year. It's just...
Yeah, he was.
He was as well. He's pretty young, and he's got that long-term contract. They're in the same tier for me. I don't think I would... I'd rather use that first to go get a running back instead.
Yeah,
if that's a need of yours.
Appreciate you, G Money. Thank you so much, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah, like I might be willing to pay a second if you want to get the premium name, but...
Because I need a running back. So you just need a running back. So then can you use your first to get a running back?
Yeah, I think...
Just keep T and do the first for... I think like we said with these team reviews, like go for the Breece Halls, go for the Chase Browns, the Jonathan Taylors.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see which team is his. I don't see T. Higgins on any of these teams for some reason. Oh, here he is. Yeah, I mean, you've got Nick. Yeah, no, I don't see a reason to make this move, honestly. Yeah, hard pass for me.
I don't really think you need a running back. You got Gibbs.
No, I don't think you either. Gibbs and Jacobs.
I know you have trade. I know you're probably a little bit short. You feel short, but if that's the case, if you feel short, use a second. Get a lower tier running back. Get the Kamaras. Get the
Kamara, Monty,
Mixons or something. You know.
And then if you're looking to send that first away, obviously aim for like the Breece Halls, the Jonathan Taylors, but if not, like the Chase Browns, the James Cooks, Ken Walkers are other options for contending rosters. But appreciate you submitting that through. Let me double check that actually went through to you. Okay, it did. Okay. All right. Okay, well, if Bird Gang isn't here and we haven't heard from them, then we might have time for you tonight, Case. But we do need to go and ask Bird Gang, hey man, can you send your sleeper league ID through? This will let us see your entire league.
So what we can do is hold on Bird Gang and do Darth. And I know Darth league was a little bit different. He was in I forgot what type of league he was in or what platform he used, but we definitely reviewed one of his teams before.
It's either CBS or Flea Flicker.
It's a CBS.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it's one. I think it's CBS. But Darth, I know you're here with us. Please jump in at any point in time. I think we're going to jump to yours next here. LFFL. And we'll have a
CBS.
look at this team here for you. Let me see if there's any context on the back end. Okay, no. He says this is my ass team. Only had Kyler/Cook when I got it 3 years ago. No tight end positions like before. You can use a tight end in any of the tight end spots though. Traded Gibbs/Cooks for Nico, the 103 and the 26 first. Try to flip Nico, but it's slow going. Have the 102, 103, then the 202, and then 26 first there. Okay, well, let's have a look at this team here. At the let's start from the top. Quarterback position, Kyler Murray. And this is a one quarterback league. So let me just figure out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is still a small starting lineup. This is a one quarterback start 7. So this is all heavy hitters. Obviously, you have kickers in defense, but that's not necessary for us when we talk about this.
When you talk about your team review, yeah.
Yeah, when we talk about the team review.
It's pretty much the same format as before, but you have an extra flex.
Yeah, and then you can use tight ends at either the wide receiver
but
position.
you don't have to start a tight end.
But you don't have to start the tight end. Exactly. Okay. At the quarterback position, I see Kyler Murray, Justin Fields, Jordan Love. I think quarterback room, that's all you need, especially in the back. At the running backs, not much to speak of. Zach Charbonnet, Jalen Wright, I see. I also see names like Zach Moss, and that's it really. So your running back room is fairly weak. At the wide receiver position, you have Nico Collins, Jerry Jeudy, Roma Dunze, Cedric Tillman, and Brooklyn's going crazy. Troy Franklin, Luke McCaffrey, Darnell Mooney. Really no one to speak of again at the wide receiver position. And no tight end either, even though you can roster a tight end. But you don't need a tight end, as we mentioned there. So
yeah. Do you think it was the right process to sell Gibbs and James Cook for Nico, the 103 and a 26 first? I think it depends on where that 26 first ends up being.
Yeah, and it really depends.
If it's early to mid, I think that's probably worth James Cook. But if it's late, Gibbs and Nico for the 103, it's pretty close. I mean, Nico and Travis Hunter, or Nico and Henderson for Gibbs, it's not bad value actually.
I think if you think about it,
like process as a rebuilder.
I think I think it's difficult because if we look at his team, it would have been Kyler, Gibbs, James, with no Nico, but he would have had the 101 or the 102, 103, a 203, 202. So he could have gotten Travis, Tet, could have traded back, potentially get
26
Luther.
First should be high, he says, by the way.
Okay. And is this a 10-man league or 12-man? This is a 10-man. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, I think you're in a position now where you should probably kind of commit to the rebuild after moving on from Gibbs. So I definitely think we can move on from Nico, or we can kind of hold him. You don't really have a starting running back right now. Quarterback room is fine. And yeah, you don't need a tight end. So your roster, like your bench, is full of a lot of non-factors, unfortunately. There's not a lot of, room to work with there, but it's something. Shall we go to the chalkboard?
Yes. Let me just go through some of this admin stuff. So obviously you don't have any untouchables. I would just say your untouchables will just be your future first and 26 and 27. Holds would most likely just be Roma Dunze that I can see here. Jalen Wright. In a league like this. Let me just have a look at who else you could potentially hold. And that's probably it there. Those are the only two I would hold. Bunch of drops. You can drop names like Dontavion Wicks, Christian Watson, Zach Moss, Jermaine Burton, Luke McCaffrey are all guys you can drop. All guys you can drop there.
Okay. Yeah, definitely roster wise. I don't know. I think honesty is important here. Really, Nico and Adunze are the only players I'm obsessed with on this team for a one quarterback too. I mean, I would probably go like, I don't know, D plus. Is D plus too harsh?
For the overall team grade.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's harsh.
Okay.
Like you said, honesty is important. No running backs to speak of, and Nico and Rome.
Yeah. The picks are gonna help, obviously.
The picks are gonna help. I would put that just as an A flat there.
Yeah. Nice draft capital there.
And Darth, do you have your own 26th first round pick, by the way? Because if that's the case, that's also not ideal. I know you traded. I know you have 220. Oh no, you do have 226 first, but I'm assuming one is yours. Okay, so that's fine. Continue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Going to the chalkboard here at the 102, we'll probably grab Hampton in a league like this where you have to start 2 running backs, but then you can flex like the wide receiver tight ends. Even in normal leagues, we're going Hampton, but I just think, again, in such a small format, Hampton's probably the pick there. And then I would prefer maybe to trade back from the 103, but if you were to stick and pick, I'm fine with any of the options of the Hunter, T-Mac, Henderson, Judkins.
Yeah.
At the 202, you're actually going to be right outside of that range in a one quarterback format, but you should land one of like Burden, Higgins, Besh, Harris range. Or even you can make a rational case for like a Scattaboo. But I think in an ideal world, you trade back from the 103 and you go anywhere from like the 104 to the 106. Remember, this is not super flex, so 5, 6.
That still keeps you in that range of Ted.
Yeah.
And I guess it keeps you in that range of all those players that are highlighted at that 103 position.
Yeah,
which is still fine.
So why don't we? Well, we can't see those teams, but essentially what you'd want to do is, like can you attach like a Jerry Jeudy on one of these deals, and get a first in a future year? Do you know what I mean? I think that's probably like your best bet with some of these teams. Can you get a future first in any of these sort of formats? Jeudy is probably the one like middle ground. You wouldn't add a Dunze into a deal like this, or Nico. So I think he is the main reason why you would do a trade like that.
Darth says trying to get a 27 first and another first this year for Nico.
If not Jeudy, by the way, like would anyone be interested in like a Charbonnet by chance because of your type of format? Sorry, I just want to clarify like the options that he's got.
No, that's fine. That's totally fine. Just thinking.
You could also. Sorry. Any of these picks where you trade down from the 103, again, it has to be from the 104 to the 106. If you can add like another late first in 2025, so we're saying like the 107 to the 111 range. That's also worth it for you as a rebuilder. Yeah. Nico, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask Darth the question. He says trying to get a 27 first and another first this year for Nico. Where's that first going to be? You already have probably if it was going to be 2 first, and you're telling me that's going to be the 107. I don't know if I want that for Nico.
Yeah, I'd love like to move him for like an Igbuka in a first. Obviously, that needs to be from like a team that's not really like contending. You know what I mean? But like an Igbuka in a first, if it's late, it's not worth it. But Igbuka makes sense. I would say a lot of people undervalue Matthew Golden. So if you could do like Matthew Golden in 2 firsts. I'll be right back, but I'm gonna need you to kind of lead this here for a second.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the moves we've come up with, but sorry, continue.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of almost wrapping up there, to be completely honest with you, Dart. So obviously Nico and Igbuka for that first, Nico and Matthew Golden for 2 firsts there. I would also like to throw in we have Jerry Jeudy, okay, which is awesome. So Jerry Jeudy for the 201 to the 204 range, and that's kind of where I would go. I mean, I've sold Jerry Judy as a package. It's a 107 will get me and Buka plus I'm a bird and lover. Okay, well that's fine as well. So if you can get something along those lines, but I think if you can package Jerry Judy with that 103 and see what you can get in return, I think that would most likely be the best case scenario for your team. But please jump in at any point in time, because I think this is probably the best that you can do here with a team like this and what we currently have. I would say you could potentially sell names like Fields and Love, but in a one quarterback 10-man league, that might be a bit difficult. So Nico and 2 firsts. Yeah, well, hopefully that first is good. Hopefully that first is a good first. But let us know. Keep us, once again, please jump in at any point in time with anything that you have here. But I think that's probably what we have personally for you. Because that Jerry Judy, keep in mind, Jerry Judy for that maybe that 201 and that 204 is probably not ideal in a quarterback league if you really think about it. Just purely based off of that 110. I'm just trying to think. So actually that Jerry Judy will most likely be Judy for Higgins, for Jack Betts, for Trey Harris. I think that's kind of the things you could potentially do here. So see, Jaden Higgins. We can also do Jack Besh. Obviously, you said Luther Burden you really like. And that's probably the 3 guys I personally would target. I think you could do Trey Harris, but Trey Harris might fall. So look, we can definitely put that as an option. And then, like Zach said, I mean, you can do Cam Scatterboot as as something that you might feel like you might need to do. He says, what worries me about trading back from the 103 is if Tet is gone and I had to take a running back, because the high picks next year are going to be running backs too. Yeah, look, for us, when it comes down to the 103, that 103 is all in that same tier for us. So where the tier break really happens is the 101, the 102, and then the 103 is a significant tier. Obviously I can't show you that, but I can verbalize it to you. So Travis Hunter, Tet, Henderson, Judkins, and a 1 quarterback are all in the same tier for us. So I understand having that 103 and not wanting to tier back, but in our eyes, you're getting that same value, right? You're getting that same value that you could potentially get for some of those guys as well. So that's probably what I personally would say. I think Zach would also say that same thing. Zach's actually here. He says you can maybe do Jerry Judy plus a 3rd for Besh and 2 moves as well. So he's talking about Jerry Judy, Besh, Jack Besh plus. Obviously you guys probably can't see this, unfortunately. Plus a 3rd and 2nd swap, right? So just trying to get a little bit more creative here with some of these trades, and actually we can put that here. And then we can just change this and put that like this. So I just heard it's not good to load up on running backs at the beginning of a rebuild. I mean, that's what a lot of people said, but a lot of those people that did load up our running backs have Bijan Robinson and Gibbs. Now, yes, every class is not the same. I'm not saying Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins are the Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson, but I can definitely understand what you're saying. Like, you want to load up on some of these wide receivers because their longevity is a little bit better. But I can definitely understand where you're coming from there. But once again, they're in the same tier for us, so we don't see that big of a difference when down to Tet or Henderson or QJ. Now we can argue that Travis Hunter can play a little bit more value, having a top 3 or top 2
Hey,
draft
sorry.
capital and doing all that.
I heard Darth's comment there, and I just wanted to say, you know, he said he's heard that it's bad to stack up on running backs in a rebuild. I would argue that the worst thing you can do in a rebuild is not take every pick and try to maximize the value out of it, right? So if there truly is an offer out there where you can move the 103 and stay in the top 6 for a future first and send one of those names away, that is maximizing the value of the pick. Rather than focusing, like the absolute last thing you should do right now in a true rebuild is try and force some particular position into your lineup. So beyond thinking about what positions to build around, think about how you can turn each asset you have into more value, right? So anyway, but yeah, I'm right there with you. Everything you said is what I was going to say anyway. So
yeah. So hopefully that helps. Dart, please jump in at any point in time. And I'll give you the spiel, which you've already gotten before. You should be receiving your playbook here, customized with everything that we drew up here for you today, within 24 to 48 hours on the Flock Fantasy message system there. But we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for getting another team review.
I think that might be it for today. We could have actually had one from Case there.
Yeah, and I know Case is here.
If Case is still here, we can fit one in for you, Case, if you want.
Yeah, Case, if you want to
let
submit
us know
now, if you can do it like ASAP. Maybe
because we need to hear
minutes.
back from Bird Gang, and we haven't heard back from him.
Yeah, so
we need his sleeper ID.
He was in here talking with a couple people just a couple minutes
again,
ago. So,
like Badaki said, PS14, Scam Ward, Bucky, or Berkey, Perfect, and Perfect are all getting theirs done today offline.
It's Berkey, the top 3, and then Perfect. I'll wait one more day to see if he is going to respond. Same thing with Dre, or actually Dre. So it's actually going to be PS14, Scam Ward, Berkey, and then Dre, because Dre said he's okay with an offline playbook. So those 4 will be done today and then sent out within the next 48 hours.
Yeah. I was just looking on the back end. Okay, guys, I think that's it for today.
Okay, awesome. No worries, Cade. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah. We appreciate y'all big time. Yeah. So we will, I guess, see you guys tomorrow.
Probably do what? Oh, that's we want to do redrafts.
Well,
might be a bit tough.
I was thinking maybe we wait until I get back to start live streaming there.
Yeah, I'm happy. Yeah, you don't want to.
It just is a lot. It's a lot of effort to set all of it up, and then we're not going to use it while, you know, because I think you're going to be primarily streaming here while I'm gone, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm going to do team reviews and Dynasty startups that I have for the 2.5 weeks that you're gone. So
we'll get streaming over there when I get back. Are you related to Nick from Notorious Fantasy? No, seeing his content though, seems like a good guy.
Do you see a resemblance there?
Case, I leave, honestly, I might take a Friday off. I'm trying to figure that out with Badaki. Because of the Thunder are in the finals. And I still have a ton of work to do, so I'm trying to decide how I allocate my time right now. Tomorrow might be my last stream. We're going to be on a holiday, and I'll be back like the 26th of June. But either tomorrow or Friday will be my last stream, and then I'll go on a little 2-week holiday to Singapore and Indonesia. Gonna get my mind right for the season, if you will.
Yeah, so you'll have me, guys. How fun is that going to be, huh?
Yeah, definitely show Badaki some love, though.
No, we'll do the Dynasty startups, which is going to be awesome. So I'm going to be streaming those guys every other day starting Monday night. So there's going to be one Monday night, Wednesday night for the next 2 weeks since when Zach is gone. And then we're going to just do a bunch of, other Dynasty stuff, which is awesome. And then team reviews, if the team reviews flow in. But I mean, obviously we saw a little down tier of that. So maybe they won't
Yeah.
even be that many. So we'll wait and see. But if not, we can get a little bit creative on the live streams. We can do some fun stuff. Yeah, should be good.
All right, guys. Travesty, we have one spot. We were either going to call it a day here, or we were going to wait for one more person to submit. So if you can submit in the next 5 minutes, we'll wait for you. Yeah. Let us know if you want to. We can vamp for a second. But anyway, let us know ASAP. All right, he says he will. So we'll hold on for Travesty here. What do you want to talk about while we wait?
I want to know why the guy thinks you look like Notorious Fantasy. I don't think you look like.
I haven't watched his content before. I know I've seen his content. I haven't watched it before. I'm sure he's a great guy. I know the FSE guys know him. There's Notorious Fantasy. That's his name, right?
Yeah. By the way, guys, once again, we don't have actual dates yet, but keep in mind we will be in Austin, Texas for a meetup to meet you guys. Not only us, but the FSC boys, Floss Fantasy, the main boys.
Sorry, this is him, I think. So do I look like him?
I don't think you look like him. Smile.
I don't know.
I don't think you look like him at all, dude.
I just realized that I think this is the same title we just released our first video on. 10 players you need in fantasy football this year. Is that not the same exact title that we used on our first video?
10 players you need in fantasy football.
10 players you need in fantasy football this year. Okay.
Must drafts. Does he have must drafts at the end there as well?
Yeah, no, it's literally the same title. I'm sure he's a great guy, though. I'm sure he's a great guy. It's literally the same title. Honestly, though, and this isn't a shot at him. I don't know him well enough to say anything. It is getting really hard. You and I have said this because we've really started to elevate our content, and you guys have probably noticed that with the way we've invested in our video editors and stuff. It's getting hard, man. It feels like a lot of people are kind of, I don't know. I feel like we've kind of set like a diagram of the type of content we make, and now it seems like people are just taking it and running with it, which is fine. That's the nature of what we do.
Yeah, it happens. Everyone has the same. I mean, to be fair, it's all recycled content. Let's be completely honest.
Yeah.
I just
We're all
really,
covering
it really
similar
depends
stuff.
on. Yeah, it all depends on who you prefer. Like, do you prefer this person's take more? Do you like how this person delivers a little bit better? Do you like how they present their videos? Do you not? Like, I think it's just all very.
Yeah.
It comes down to the person, not really the content that they're. I think it comes down to the person, and then it's also bringing as well, or the information that they're bringing. But I think a lot of it does come down to the person.
Yeah. Do you have any specific place you'll be visiting in Singapore? Yeah, pretty much everywhere. We're going to go to the zoo. I know they have what's it called? There's like a theme park there that we're going to go to. We'll be going to like the gardens that they have. Pretty much all around. Singapore's not huge, so pretty much we'll go everywhere. But we'll also be in Indonesia a little bit. There's like a resort. We're going to go there for about 4 days.
This guy's just traveling. This guy's a world traveler, man. You see, this guy's going to Indonesia, Singapore. This guy, I mean, my goodness. I'm just here living my life in little old Newcastle.
Well, there's been many years where you have gone and I've not gone, though.
I haven't been anywhere that you haven't gone to. Never been to Singapore.
I mean, there's been many years, though, where you've gone on a holiday and I haven't.
I stayed home.
You think I've been gone more than you since we started this?
I've only been gone. The only time that I can remember I've been gone is when I went to New York in November. That was the only time I was away.
Yeah.
Which I'm not comparing my time to been gone. I'm talking about travel in general, like
Oh, okay.
places that we've been.
I'm
That's what
saying,
I've been talking about.
yeah. No, that's fine. I'm saying I think you've had more days off than me, but we're not going to compare here.
We're not comparing.
We're not
Anyways,
comparing.
Travesty, we appreciate you. Let's get into it, huh? 2 quarterback, 10 team start 9. Another meat and potatoes here for us. I'll put it in the chat so you guys can see. Okay, let's have a look at this team. He says, looking for advice, post rookie draft, trade ideas. I have 427 first rounders as well.
He says he's ass.
He says he's ass. He says I'm
Well,
ass.
your draft capital probably is pushing up your rank there. I mean, brother, you have 1, 2, 3 first and 26. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 first and 27. That's why you're being pushed up, and you have a decent, bones here. But let's have a look.
Yeah, so it's a 10 team. Currently ranked second. And let's have a look here. At the quarterback position, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, Tyler Shook with Aaron Rodgers. At the running back position, RJ Harvey, Caleb Johnson, Scatterboo, Tootin, Etienne, Hunter. Okay, a bunch of young running backs there. 8 and 7. Chris Olave. You can start up to 4 wide receivers. Chris Olave, Mika Mbuka, Matthew Golden, Ricky Pearsall, Shakira, Higgins, Best. No, you had a bunch of picks in this draft. You also have Loveland, Strange, Mike Gesicki as well. Okay. Well, yeah, you definitely had a bunch of rookie picks. I mean, my goodness. Obviously, we probably can count that here in a second, but let's go straight into some admin stuff. Untouchables. I don't see an untouchable that you have on this team. So what we're going to do is just say your future first in 26 and 27, because you don't have anyone that qualifies for an untouchable for us. Now, when we come down to holds here, a lot of young players, a lot of players that we like, but let's just put Trevor Lawrence here as a hold. We like to see what he's going to do this year. Names like Chris Olave, we would hold. Names like, guess you can put the Ricky Pearsalls as well. And let's see, is there any other tight end? And then Brenton Strange. We can put Brenton Strange. There's a bunch of holds here. Obviously, we would love to hold the Mikas, the Goldens, the Beshes, the Knowles, the Cokers, the Tootins. All these guys we would like to hold as well. But just for the sake of the graphic, those are some guys that we were going to put as holds there. A bunch of drops. You can drop Deontay Johnson, or you can just hold him since you have space. But Michael Wilson, Deontay Johnson, Keaton Mitchell are 3 guys I would be okay dropping.
Yeah. Look, full transparency, this is kind of similar to a team that we've already reviewed today, where I don't really know that there are many moves that you need to make because you've kind of already really established the direction of this team. Clearly, you're a rebuilder, right? I mean, you're a 1-year punt at minimum with all the picks that you have. And there's not many players that you would say, yeah, I need to move off these guys to kind of stay young. But we'll look at that in a second. I would say overall team grade, I lean like maybe a B-.
Yeah.
And then draft capital grade, we said A+ already. The draft that you had, you have a lot of names. The guys that I highlighted in green are guys I think can be foundational to your rebuild, your Harveys, your Johnsons, your Igbuka Goldens. The guys I highlighted in that yellow are names that are really fun players that are in exciting situations, but certainly aren't any guarantee based off historical hit rates. But I like all those players a lot. And then everyone else, I should have added Loveland in the green spot there. But everyone else is, just fun what ifs at that point. Yeah, I gave you an A- grade for your draft.
Yeah, I think what you could have done here, Travesty, which I'm pretty sure you heard multiple times, we probably would have consolidated a lot of these picks. You had RJ Harvey, Caleb, and Mika. It looks like you had somewhere around like the 107 and later. Could you have packaged some of these seconds, some of these thirds, and gotten up to like the 105, 104, 103?
Yeah, brought in a T-Mac, a Travis Hunter,
Yeah, trying to get something along those lines. But obviously, we love these players.
To be fair, like,
You
you
know.
don't really have to do that right now anyway. You can wait until you're ready to compete to
Oh,
consolidate a bunch too.
yeah, I was just saying in the sense of like what you could have done during the draft.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
At that point. But yes, I agree.
Yeah, I like it. I gave you an A- there. I think obviously Aaron Rodgers comes to mind. If he actually signs anywhere, he might be a dead asset here soon. Travis Etienne comes to mind as well as a name that you can sell in season. He is definitely taking a rise in value right now over the last couple weeks. I know head coach just said nice things about him. It's the same things he said about Rachaad White last year, funnily enough. But that could be a good, time to sell, if not now, after week 1 or 2. But Rodgers, look, I think you would be happy with any third in any year at this point. I mean, shoot, maybe you can get a second. I just don't think. The only way you get a second is if he becomes a starting quarterback for this team and you have a desperate quarterback needy team, which I don't imagine is possible in a 10-team league. But Travis Etienne, I think you could probably aim for an early second in a future year. I personally would be content with any second in any year as a rebuilder. I don't think there is like I don't know. I wouldn't be too precious about it. I know he's a first-round pick, but I just I don't know. It's more of a Najee Harris as a first-round pick than it's a Saquon Barkley as a first-round pick from how an NFL team might value him, in my opinion. Outside of those names, I mean, would you want to move on from Khalil Shakir? Maybe multiple seconds? I don't think you have to.
Multiple seconds. I don't think you have to either. I think, yeah, I don't think you have to.
I think the other way you can go here is find a wide receiver and running back needy team and package Etienne and Shakir for your future first. But there aren't really other sells. I don't really see anyone else that I would sell on this team necessarily.
This team is very young.
You could maybe do like a Jordan Love and a second and try to go to JJ McCarthy and a first or something. You might be able to do something really small like that, or even like the Michael Penixes of the world. But I don't think you can do too much. I mean, maybe the most you can net is like McCarthy and 2 future seconds or something. But again, in this sort of format, you probably want to aim more towards the firsts. I mean, could you send Jordan Love and Etienne in a package like that, or Jordan Love and Shakir in a package like that? But those are you're kind of already on the right course here. You've already steered the ship in the right direction, I think, for the most part there.
I mean, I completely agree. Hey, Travesty, thank you so much, man. Let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah.
Once again, this team is very young, so like you've done exactly everything you could have done to kind of get where this team needs to be here. You just got to wait. I think you could potentially be a low key sleeper team. Like, look, there's a nice little pathway that you can paint here, right? Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence are your 2 starting quarterbacks. You have RJ. What is Caleb going to do in season if he does take over? Or hell, even Cam Scatterboot, which a lot of people do believe in. Then you have Chris Lave starting. You have Matthew Golden starting. Ricky Pearsall and Shakir are your starting 4. Within Brenton Strange, Mike Gesicki, or Colson Loveland starting in that. I think you could potentially sneak into the playoffs here. Some of these players, rookie players, come off starting hot, but which then will change a lot of your decisions making, whether you need to sell Shakira, whether you should sell Travis at that point in time, depending on how he's doing.
Yeah.
But once again, you don't have to make any of these moves, or you can just wait to see how your team is going to perform and then make a move then. But appreciate you, man.
Travesty says, should I trade Shakir or Pearsall and a first for a better player? I think Pearsall is more of a hold, especially in your situation as a rebuilder. I don't mind the idea of moving like Shakir. There's just no need to use your first right now, though.
I agree.
There's no reason to liquidate that asset right now, in my opinion.
I mean, I think we can probably dive a little bit deeper when it comes down to the first and see the first that you do have. Like, if you're gonna look at, you have Mr. Grumpy's, who is currently ranked 10th. He has Ashton Genty, Amaron Hampton. I mean, he has a decent-ish team. James Rich, you have his first. What does his team look like?
Yeah,
his team is
I like
competitive.
the idea, but not at this cycle of your team, not at this life cycle of the team.
Yeah, I think
That's something that we
I think
can
a
look
lot
at
of these
next
first are
year.
gonna keep.
Next year we can say like, okay, Pearsall broke out, and I can now attach these first, and then you can kind of start to play with your 26 and 27 first. I think you might be, you're a 1-year punt more than a rebuild, but you don't need to liquidate any of these future assets right now.
Yeah,
as you're not contending, you know.
But appreciate you, man. Should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours in the Flock Fantasy message system, man. But you already know how to get yours. But once again, we appreciate you and thank you so much for your support.
Yeah, big time, my friend. Appreciate you big time. Should I trade away my young running backs for future picks? I mean, you got to build around a player at some point. You know, you've already got a significant amount of picks. You know, with what is it, 7 in the next 2 years? So you can, like, if you just want to flip one first into another first, you can, but that's basically what you're doing if you do that. RJ Harvey, Caleb Johnson, both bona fide first round picks in this year's draft. So basically what you'd be doing is flipping one first into another first. So there's nothing wrong with it, but you're just pushing back the players that you can build on to a different year, really.
Yeah.
So, and I don't really think consolidation is right for you right now, because ultimately, I mean, you really don't want to have like these top end players right now anyway helping you win games. He says, if I could get a first and a second. Yeah, I mean, look, you can go flip Harvey and Johnson for a first and a second if you want, but you're also running the risk of, well, what if they break out in year 1 and then I undersold them? So certainly if that's possible, it's not a bad idea, but
yeah, I just think it's the value.
There's just a nuanced conversation behind it, right?
Yeah, I think we would always say like we're okay to trade somebody away if the value's right, or trying to get a good package if the value is right. But I think if you're then trying to make a move with your team that's so young, then you're constantly flipping. You're constantly like, there's no like, all right, I'm going to try to compete. You know,
can't get much younger than year 1 in the NFL. I mean, you just cashed in on draft picks to draft rookies, and now you want to trade the rookies for draft picks. You can, but I like Padaki said, I think you're kind of going in a circle a little bit. And you're also eliminating, yes, there's a chance they're not as valuable this time next year, but you're eliminating any opportunity for these picks to grow into something more as well, you know? So anyway, but we appreciate your support as always, man. You've been a long time supporter, and always cool to see people come back and want more from what we offer. But that is it for today, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. We will do a startup mock draft tomorrow. So we'll see you guys then. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Love.